You're now listening to the Zod and Drea podcast.
And welcome to season 3 of the Zod and Drea podcast.
All right,
I like that.
All right, well, welcome to the Zod and Drea podcast. Once again, I'm Zod, that's Drea, and we are coming back with a whole brand new season, a lot of ampness. We're going to have a whole bunch of ideas with some new guests. We have features for all of our audio podcasts now become all video podcasts. So we are just going to be amping this season 3 up and bringing it to you the way that we always do.
We have a new image as well. Zod took great pictures of us in downtown Phoenix, so you get to see the new pictures of us as well.
Yep, so we got some new photos you'll be able to check out. I don't think we really put them on the Zod and Drea site, but they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, and we'll put it on the Zod and Drea site just so you can see how cute we are.
Adorables.
Adorable
blankets.
Adorable, you get this blanket.
That's my guy.
All right, so you're not getting any adorable blankets from us, but you're going to be able to definitely check out some of the new things that we have coming up. So we can't wait. I can't wait to show it to you. Dre can't wait.
We can't wait. We just all can't wait. And you know what? Today is just one for the history books. Well, actually, it was Monday.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about just what has been on the minds of so many people around the world from today. So what we're first going to share with you, though, is some entertainment. We're going to talk about Sicario.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen the first Sicario, starring Benicio del Toro and your boy T-Rex, Thanos, we're going to get into that because it was a really, really good movie. So, of course, they had a second one, which is Sicario Day of the Soldado.
Dun, dun, dun.
Whatever Soldado is. But yeah.
Soldier.
Oh, that's what it is.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense then. I mean, considering all the guns. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, of course, we're going to go into relationships. And this one's an interesting one. It's splitting the tab. You know, what do you do when it's time to split that dough? You know, whether it's between you and your significant other or you and especially a bunch of friends.
Co-workers, you name it. So
yeah, so we've always been there. And in fact, the fact that you need apps nowadays in order to do that, you know, it's like they're trying to figure out what's going on. So Drea found a good article about are people being cheap? And we're going to dive in a little bit deeper into Venmo about that.
Yeah. And our main topic, you want to talk about the main topic today?
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it on TV, but we're going to just straight up say the President of the United States is a traitor. So let's get into this and talk about what you want.
So what do you want to talk about first?
Let's see. Let's talk about Sicario. That'd be good.
So I just saw the first one, right, about maybe a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And I guess it's been out for a few years, and I was just late to it, but I wanted to see what the first one was about because I knew the second one was coming out. And I really liked it. I was surprised how much I liked it.
Yeah, so Sicario was dope. It came out, I think, in 2015. And it's funny, when this new one came out, I guess because of the title, I just didn't expect it to wind up being a sequel. I was like, okay, what's this? You know, is this like something that I just missed? Kind of because you and I had also gone over the Purge so much. You and I went and did a whole Purge binge, so I wasn't sure how Sicario was fitting in anything. But when I saw that it was a sequel, because I'm like, yo, the posters are dope and the images are crazy.
Yeah, they had some really cool billboards throughout Phoenix.
Yeah, I really loved them. I was like, okay, let's see what they're going to do. Now, I had already seen it, but I needed to see it again, so it was really good that, you wanted to see it. So I was like, all right, let's do it. So, of course, you and I go and check out the first one. We enjoyed it. Then we're like, yeah, and the only reason really that we pulled it up was because we saw the commercials because of the second one.
Yeah. So I was like, let me just see what this is about.
Yes.
And I've been a fan of Benicio del Toro for a while anyways, and this was cool. This was really cool to see. And I was really surprised how much I even enjoyed Josh Brolin.
Yeah, so Thanos was in this again. Thanos is in everything.
And I call him T-Rex arms because his arms are so short compared to his torso. I don't know why. I can spot this guy a mile away.
Yeah, you did. You saw him like on the second one as soon as he walked in. It was the back of him.
It was a ground shot too. I'm like, I see the legs and I see the arms. I'm like, that's him. I'm like, there's Thanos.
So of course, this one is interesting because it's about starting a war between Mexican gangs, but the ones who are going to start the war between the are Americans.
Similar story.
Like, yeah. So, I mean, think about the implications of what can happen. And this is just so they can get what they want. But, of course, they're going to send in mercenaries to do the job for them. And, you know, they get after the whole first one and everything, they had finally flipped Benicio del Toro's character. What was his name? Alejandro. They had flipped Alejandro so that he was working for the government, and he was cool about it. And Matt Graver, who was Josh Brolin, that was he was almost, I don't know, he was like not his friend, but he had a connection to him.
He respected him.
He really respected him for what he did. And you know, the Sicario, which is I guess Hitman. That's what they're saying. It's Hitman. Is what Benicio del Toro is. And
he didn't start off as that. He was an attorney first.
No, an accountant. He was an accountant.
Accountant, that's right,
Yeah,
for one of the cartels.
You know, but man, after, you know, if you haven't seen the first one, you know, something really bad happens to his family. You know, he winds up becoming this hitman to get revenge, and it's to get revenge pretty much by any means. Like, he has no sides. The whole side is to get revenge for his family.
He's not representing a government. He's not representing a country. It's just he's got to amend this.
Yeah, so in this one, you know, they got to cross over the border, do all this grimy stuff, and the way that they do it was so slick. You remember with the kidnapping, and then seem like that they're heroes. It was a real good, you know, mind play on everything, but especially to the victim, who, poor kid.
Which she is an amazing little actress. I remembered her from Transformers.
Yes. Her name is Isabella Moner. She really did her thing, a little girl, and she did her thing. She was just really good. But it was just one of those interesting things where, hey, is he going to get out of the situation? And, you know, they wound up, I guess, merging two stories. Because remember, there's the one story about the boy who wants to be, he wanted to be in the gang, and he wanted to be in the life, the drug life. And he was American over on the Texas side, but his cousin was dealing with the drugs over on the Mexican border. So eventually they merged stories between the Sicario and them doing this, and then these guys and the kidnappings, and oh man, when you see the connection between the two, it's like, oh boy, there may not be a sequel.
Right.
It's like, oh man. But you know, there's a reason for a sequel, so I'm hoping that another Sicario comes out.
What I did like about this movie was it brought to light human trafficking that occurs now, constantly, every day at the Mexican border, and how brutal it is. And
the desperate needs of the people. The desperate needs of the people and why they want to leave. Nobody wants to live in a war zone. I mean, who would want to?
Nobody wants to leave their family.
Nobody. The place where you live, grew up. I mean, why would you want to? So it kind of puts a nice little microscope on that. It was good. Excellent movie. So
excellent. Go see it.
So now let's talk about the tipping. Now, the tipping is going to be fun.
So came across this article about Venmo and apps that are similar to Venmo. There was a study done, and the question that was brought up was, are these types of apps hurting relationships? Are they causing people to view you as cheap or view you as somebody that doesn't want to part with their money? But it also brought into this other part of the conversation that I didn't realize that Venmo does. What it does is when you subscribe, so say you and I subscribe, right? I can track what you're spending. You're spending your money on events, dinners. That's crazy to me. So what's happening now with people in relationships, they can track what their partner is doing. And if it's stuff that maybe they don't know about, let's say their partner is spending money at a concert, and maybe they told their girlfriend that, hey, yeah, I'm not going to that concert, but yet the girlfriend can go on Venmo and see exactly, oh, you spent this amount of money to get this ticket. It's crazy. So it just it's causing all kinds of conflict, and guess looking at your relationship that you have with money, and also how you view yourself, or how people view you when you spend or don't spend that money. So I think that the app is just a little too much. You know, like I remember, like, and I still do this when we go out, or when I go out, let's say on a business thing, right? Usually I'll go by, if I'm the one that requested to, let's say, have coffee with somebody, or to take somebody to lunch, you know, let me meet you for lunch. I'll be the first one then to initiate payment because I'm the one that made that request. Now that's just a common practice that I learned really early on in my life, right? And from like my dad and even from business partners, like if you initiate, then be prepared to pay. So be prepared then if you initiate to take somebody to the fancy restaurant that they may order a lot of drinks, they may order a very expensive dinner, but if you initiate that, you got to take that risk. That doesn't seem to be carrying on anymore in this next generation. Yeah, I guess I went on a lot about that.
I'm like, okay, segment's almost over. The whole thing with Venmo, it's kind of interesting because it's a peer-to-peer, but it almost seems like it's a social network of sorts. But it's almost one-sided in the way that you just look at what other people are doing. So it's looking inward, and you can get involved if you want. But I mean, right now I have the app open, and I can see some of my friends who paid people. Look at, as of 30 seconds ago, you can not just see who your friends are, but you can see worldwide. Now, I don't know who Anthony Galloway or Jesprit So he is. But 40 seconds ago, they paid Molly something for Molly. You know, like someone just paid for random 20 Pokeballs for somebody. I'm not lying. Like, hi, it's PayPal 20. So so we're talking worldwide. That's these people, and I can click on their profiles, and I can pay them for no reason, pay or request. I can click this guy, Alexander Young, don't know him, and I can request him to pay me $10 for no reason. And the thing is, it winds up leaving a footprint in the sense of a timeline, and that's where you can see anybody who you're friends with that has signed up with Venmo. You can see what they paid and what for. So it's not just one of those things where, hey, you know, you're splitting it up. It's like, yo, what's up? Why are you splitting it up? It's the fact that you can see who is paying what. Mm-hmm. Now, that's up to anybody who's open. I've had and received payments as well as paid people payments for the speaker that is on this podcast that we can listen to. But one of the other things is going back to tipping in general and using Venmo and or any other app is the splits. I am a non-drinker, okay? When I go out with people, I don't drink alcohol. Alcohol can sometimes be $8 a drink and up.
It's sometimes more than the meal.
That's what I'm saying, more. Yeah. Meanwhile, people who are drinkers are so quick to pull out their credit card and do a split, and I'm like, no, because my one lemonade for $2 versus your 4 shots, and like, no, you know, I'm not doing that. So they can call me cheap, they can call me whatever, but I had years of that coming up in the game until I was like, you know what, why are my pockets more empty than yours should be? Screw that, and I will Venmo your ass that also, so too bad.
So yeah, I just don't get why would I share on Venmo everything that I'm doing transaction wise. That I don't. That's just getting too much into my business.
Yeah, no. If you want to break over something dumber than that, but Venmo, please.
Please listen carefully.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Zod,
And I'm Drea.
and we want you to check out the Zod and Drea podcast every Tuesday.
Where can everybody find us at?
You can always check us out on www.zodanddrea.com.
Where else?
You can always check us out also on Facebook at Zod and Drea.
Instagram?
Zod and Drea.
Snapchat?
Zod and Drea.
YouTube?
Zod and Drea.
I see a pattern.
So if you haven't caught that, catch us at Zod and Drea on all the social networks. But also, make sure you subscribe to the Zod and Drea podcast. Where?
At zodanddrea.com.
And also on YouTube and iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. We're coming for you.
Let us know what you think, and if you want to be a guest, reach out to us.
And put all of your input into whatever our topics are for the week. So we hope to check you out and see you there.
Bye! Oh boy.
Here we go. We're back to discuss some of this on our season opener of season 3 of the Zod and Drea podcast, and we are going to be discussing why Donald Trump, the President of the United States of America, is a traitor. So if you are MAGA and you don't like hearing that, sorry. And I don't care if 90% of the Republicans...
I'm not sorry.
Yeah, I don't care if 90% of the Republicans back him up. Who knows what after today. But, you know, he deserves it. He deserves it. And it shouldn't be a surprise to any of us on some of the actions that he does and some of the actions that he winds up taking, because he keeps on doing stupid things day after day after day with the, what's her name? Sarah Huckabee Sanders always backing him up no matter what. So let's get into this.
Well, you don't only have Sanders, but you also have pretty much a whole network that backs him up all the time.
Up to 93% of Republicans back this man up. Do you understand how destructive this guy is? So no matter what, Muslims, black people, Latinos, if he goes after all the, and that's a huge section of America, why is it that 93 Republicans are going to back him up for his views and the way, build the wall. It's one of the things to build a wall. Most companies have already torn down the walls that they built back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So Germany's like, you know what, this Berlin Wall is kind of like bullshit. Maybe we should tear it down because it divides people. So now they have a much stronger economy. They have a bigger culture. People can travel all over the place, and it's better. Why he would want to build one up in order to either, like my friend said, like either keep people out or keep us in. You have to wonder what the motives are on somebody.
What is this preservation? What is it you're trying to preserve? So, what happened at the UN this last week, right? Trump had in front of so many leaders of other countries.
What was it, NATO?
I'm sorry, it was NATO. That he had expressed how Europe is losing its culture.
Yeah.
Because of immigration.
Yeah. And you got to wonder what somebody who says, yeah, you're losing. All right, it's make America great again. So in other words, it's not great now, but we're going to turn it back into a time when it was great. And considering the policies that he's been putting into place, such as, he gets to now put somebody in place where they can try to overturn Roe versus Wade so that abortion, he wants to make sure that women, you remember when he was campaigning, he was talking about women being punished for abortion.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about he wants to go to a certain time. Now, people of color haven't always had the best time in America. So
nope.
The only thing that you can see is that white people now are having a huge complaint because their numbers are growing lower. Now, the fact is that they are dying faster than they are giving birth in this country, which means that soon enough, the dark people are going to be the majority. And that's the whole, black people are just like 13% of the country, whatever. But we have a lot of power. But then the growing, I think it's like Asians are actually one of the biggest growing demographics.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Asians and Latinos coming in. So in order to stop that growth, you imprison people.
You make them an enemy.
So you imprison them. So black people become imprisoned at a higher rate, and exonerated cops wind up killing a lot of unarmed black people at 5 to 1 a higher rate. What else do? You make sure that Latinos from South America do not get into the country.
And you separate the families. Take the children across.
Well, that's just punishment.
That's just punishment for trying to even come here.
That's not like you literally you take the rights of, and it's like, hey, my parents came in this way, so who cares if yours isn't? Because as long as my family is here,
right. Preserving my way of life, and you can't have this way of life.
Just like he said at NATO.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, it's almost like, hey, you're losing your culture.
Right. And he said this to our allies.
Yeah.
Our allies.
So you take the Latinos and you make sure you put a wall up between them to make sure that they don't come into the country anymore. And if you can, you try to deport them. That improves the quality of life for white people in numbers. So you imprison black people, and you also, by imprisoning a whole bunch of them, you either kill them, but you also take away the right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
DACA people, you make sure that they do not have the right to vote. That's millions, of people here. You make sure they do not have the right to vote. In other words, you're ensuring that the only people who have the right to vote and also exist in this country are white.
Right. And it's bullshit when the right is saying that, these immigrants and these people that are coming into our country are taking all these free services. No, they can't. They can't apply. They can't apply for assistance because of their status. So you're full of crap. It's a lie.
And white people are actually the largest beneficiaries of the welfare system. So and white women actually benefit from affirmative action more than anybody. Mm-hmm. So don't listen to any of these fake stats that MAGA will claim. Now, once you do that, you empower the white people. So how do you empower them? You make sure that you have a president who says the right words. You don't mind that they fight for the Confederate statues. In fact, you pretty much advocate for it. You make sure that the people who killed Heather Heyer are also deemed as good people.
Mm-hmm.
On both sides, people are bad on both sides. You make sure you use the both sides argument. The both sides argument is exactly like all lives matter. When someone just wants to say Black Lives Matter, just say that phrase, Black Lives Matter. It's a statement of fact. It's a statement of fact, but when you say no, but all lives, that means you're saying it is not a statement of fact, and you're assuming that people are only stating. It's like almost like saying cancer kills.
Mm-hmm.
Then you say, well, AIDS kills too. You can't go ahead, or all diseases matter. You don't say that. You're like, yeah, AIDS does kill. Black Lives Matter. When you put all of this together, you see somebody who was then starting to destroy the democracy of America. So he's trying to destroy and separate, but he's trying to ensure white America exists only.
And it's very subtle.
Except he does it loud and clear. The only reason it's subtle is because his supporters sit there and say, "Oh no, this is what they try at their little 30% rate to try and claim everything that he says is true." But when 30% of the country says, "Oh, that's a dangerous amount," and that's Civil War numbers. What happened today? Trump has wanted to have a Putin summit, and if you haven't been following, Trump has attacked the Constitution by, number one, attacking freedom of speech. So freedom of speech, allowing people to say what they want to say, he has a problem with, to a point where even when somebody doesn't say something, he completely calls it a witch hunt. Like,
yes.
Mueller hasn't said anything.
Right. He has not done any type of tweets.
No, nothing.
No press, nothing. But yet it's like every other day, Trump tweets about him and says it's a witch hunt.
All the time. Meanwhile, that's a witch hunt, but yet he has a witch hunt against Hillary Clinton and Obama because he tweets about them every day. So how is one a witch hunt, but the other one isn't?
Mm-hmm.
He also attacks the press, especially CNN. CNN he attacks all the time.
And MSNBC.
And NBC anything. And also Jeff Bezos.
Yes.
The Wall Street Journal. I think it's Washington
Post.
Washington Post.
Mm-hmm.
So he winds up, is it Post? No, Washington.
It's not the Journal.
Yeah, anyway. Because I thought Washington Post was conservative. Anyway, he winds up attacking the media in that way. So he's saying that he doesn't want to even have a discussion with these people. Sarah Sanders doesn't even call on them.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't even call on them in the white press. So we are talking an administration who has now attacked the press. That's the First Amendment.
And at NATO, he did this while he was
Yep.
not in NATO. I'm sorry. It was when he was visiting England.
Oh, yeah.
And it was one of the female reporters from MSN that was asking him questions, and it was regarding Russia, and it was regarding just, of course, all the daily crap that he does. And he immediately insulted her and said, in front of our ally leaders, "You're fake news, you're lying, this is why I don't call upon you and CNN."
So he denigrates the United States press in front of the stage, the world stage. NFL players kneeling, that is a First Amendment right in order to protest in silence. He also advocated against that and attacked it until the NFL caved in, and then he called them sons of bitches for kneeling. This has nothing to do with the military. It's about the rights of what black people are going through, and he ignored that. So we're talking about the president is a traitor. But what happened yesterday that wound up being the total? We already knew that he was Putin's puppet, but...
Right. And we already knew that he was in advance already planning a private meeting with him without any other people attending except
translators.
Just translators. How scary is that?
So he had a private meeting with the guy who was being accused of not meddling, pretty much advocating war against the United States during the election process in 2016, in which Trump has never said a bad thing about him. So during the press conference today, let's just play a little clip of some of the things that he has said and why he is a traitor. Take a listen.
Would you now, with the whole world watching, tell President Putin, would you denounce what happened in 2016, and would you warn him to never do it again?
All I can do is ask the question. My people came to me, Dan Coates came to me, and some others. They said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be. I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial today. And what he did is an incredible offer. He offered to have the people working on the case come and work with their investigators with respect to the 12 people. I think that's an incredible offer. The probe is a disaster for our country. I think it's kept us apart. It's kept us separated. There was no collusion at all. Everybody knows it.
As to who is to be believed and to who is not to be believed, you can trust no one if you take this. Where did you get this idea that President Trump trusts me or I trust him? He defends the interests of the United States of America, and I do defend the interests of the Russian Federation. We should be guided by facts. Could you name a single fact that would definitively prove the collusion? This is utter nonsense.
Now Putin's going to say that, of course, because Mueller's investigation hasn't come out. But with 12 Russians indicted, we have Paul Manafort is in prison. Who else?
There was just
Gates,
this morning, there was a woman, Maria
Butina.
who was now indicted and was been charged with influencing the NRA to try to get access and to various religious organizations that donated to the Trump campaign to get access to coordinate a meeting between Putin and his team and Trump. Those two meetings, though, they failed, but it does show a trail of the money that was funneling into the NRA and these other religious groups from those Russian groups.
Now, even some of the Republicans are starting to split off from Trump. One of them, Tim Scott, South Carolina Republican slave, who said, the President's Summit in Helsinki today should have been an attempt at confronting Russian aggression, hacking, and election interference. Russia is not a friend or ally. As Americans, we stand up for our interests and values abroad, but I fear today was a step backwards. Liz Cheney, a Wyoming Republican, said, as a member of the House Armed Services Committee, I am deeply troubled by the President Trump's defense of Putin against the intelligence agency of the United States and his suggestion of moral equivalence between the U.S. and Russia. Russia poses a grave threat to our national security. I mean, it's wild. I mean, I would love to know what Trey Gowdy, who was going all over about Peter Strzok. You remember that in during Peter Strzok's life? I would love to know what he has to say. Pompeo, like there are a bunch of them, and it's just amazing on how traitorous and treasonous this president has become and is, and it's only taken him a year and a half to do this.
And I'm going to say it again. If Obama did this.
If Obama if he did 1/95th of what Trump did, this is a guy who literally had hope, like he had hope in bringing the country move forward from where it was.
Right.
It wasn't about moving backwards. It was about building bridges and doing all this other stuff. As soon as he was like, hey, yeah, I'll talk to dictators. I'll talk to them. Oh my God.
No, he's selling us out.
Oh my God. State TV, Fox News was like, oh my God. But as soon as this other guy wants to talk to Kim Jong-un, give him the Nobel Prize. This is the country that we've become. This is America. And we have a president who now will have a spin doctor going crazy. And Sarah Sanders will be in the front lines about how he is not traitorous to the United States. Mm-hmm. But people, in any other regime that has happened in the history of the world, we have seen this before. Now it's up to you on whether or not you want to go all the way further right, and then just have this turn into another Hitler.
They can try to spin this all they want. The rest of the world, their newspaper headlines already calling Trump Putin's poodle.
Except for Russia, who was actually praising it.
They were popping bottles and having a great time.
Making it rain.
So, Fox News can spin this all they want. This was horrible. This was absolutely horrible for our country.
Yeah, and even what's funny, the first thing I did when I saw it was go to Fox News, and even they couldn't defend it.
They can't.
So try to fight me if you want. The President of the United States of America is a traitor, and if you're smart, you would go on Zillow and look for some real estate elsewhere, because something's going to wind up happening if they keep on having this clown as a president. And
Congress needs to stand up and do something.
Stop defending
your congressman.
him.
Call, email. Do what you need to do to make sure that they keep Donald Trump accountable and get him out of office. Who knows what else he's selling us out to?
Bill Clinton got a blowjob and was impeached. Nixon
was a good
did
one.
like a little lie. This guy has been doing worse. So just expect something to happen.
Putin's poodle. It's my
Anyway,
favorite.
I am so glad you guys got to check out episode 118, which is the first episode of season 3. Make sure you check out ZodAndrea.com as well as at ZodAndrea everywhere, and check out our Patreon account and make sure that you give us what you can. All
Call
right?
your congressman and woman.